because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
All right, welcome back to the Go Track, everyone, the podcast about golf and golf-adjacent stuff, mostly from Africa. It's Teabag here. We are playing a 4-ball tonight. We have a full roster, and I'm starting off with a guy who doesn't seem to be doing very well on his New Year's resolution of playing less golf. Hello, Jacques.
I stood by it this weekend, but yeah, that's the only time I've stood by it. So, how's it?
Only because of the weather.
Yes.
And what I'm going to assume is a very sad Carl Hoffman joining us after what can only be described as a typical end of season Liverpool performance. It was a draw, but it feels like an absolute loss. Hello, Hoff. How are you?
I've been better. I was better 2 hours before this, that's for sure. A little bit grumpy after that Liverpool performance, but it is what it is, I guess. Nice to be back on and talking about golf, hopefully.
Well, it is nice to have you back because it feels like quite a while since we've had you with us. So, yeah, thanks for making time in your schedule for us.
I think you got to thank my son more than me.
Thank you, Seb. And lastly, very happy to have a guest on this evening. You know, a few weeks ago, JDV and I were posing as media up in Joburg, pretending like we were the real deal. But we actually have somebody on us this evening who has actual media chops. Happy to welcome the sports lead from East Coast Radio, Nick Tatham. Welcome to the Goat Track.
Terence, thanks very much for having me. Geez, guys, this feels like it's been long coming. I saw Hoff the other day, and I said that I'm one of your avid listeners, one of your many, many thousand avid listeners, and it's great to be on the show. Thank you.
Do you know that?
I was actually very shocked, Tucky, because I saw Tucky and I hadn't seen Tucky for a while, and we bumped into each other in the Midlands, and he's like, really enjoying the Goat Track. I was like, what? You listen to the Goat Track? You're one of 10 and family. So, yeah, nice to have you on board.
Well, apparently, Tucky, we've got
friends and family, yeah?
We've got a big reach in Netherlands, so that's quite cool.
According to that's exactly. We're trying to grow the game all the time. I feel like the Netherlands is an area where we can find a real market.
We're doing better than
Liv. A couple of listeners in Pakistan as well, apparently. So,
Well, look at that. Our reach is way bigger than Liv's. That's for sure.
We're genuinely growing the game here. Nick, I think what we've proved over the last year, it's been almost exactly a year, guys, since we started this podcast, by the way. So congratulations to all of you. I think what we've proved is that besides not knowing a thing about recording sound, and acoustics in general, is that we've got the golf bug pretty bad. We're fairly big golf nerds. How would you rate your kind of golf obsession?
You know what? I would love to be as big a golf nerd as humanly possible. Just time and work and everything just seems to get in the way of playing. Probably having a family too, that also counts against it. But that gets in the way of me playing as much golf as humanly possible. But I love the game. I follow it so as closely as I possibly can, and I just want to play more. That's all I want to do. And opposite to Jacques, I want to play more.
Me too.
Okay, so you're in very much in my boat then of play more golf, watch more golf, just be around the game a lot more. Unlike Hoff, who's just trying to nurture his relationship with the game, which is a different approach.
Look, my relationship's like a marriage that's on the rocks. Go through some good times and some bad times. So we'll see. We're gonna play next weekend, so that's first time in a long time. So yeah, we'll see if the stack and tilt is still tilting and stacking.
Oh God, I forgot about the stack and tilts. Actually,
Yeah,
would love to know how that's going.
You got to keep to your golf goals. That's what you got to do.
Well, for sure, and just an update from my side. Nick, you asked who played golf. I actually did play golf this weekend. I played at Sheppies yesterday, Port Shepstone. I think we were one of 15 people who actually decided to tee off. It was pouring with rain. But yeah, we had a good time. It was a Bills party, so it was hard to not have a good time when you're having your first beer at 9:15.
Nice.
I was down the south coast as well this weekend, and I'll tell you one thing: I love golf, but I definitely was not getting out there yesterday. It was weather for ducks for sure.
Today was even worse. Wow, today was horrible. I'm actually surprised I didn't see you out there, Jacques.
Funnily enough, we actually had like almost a completely dry front nine today, or yesterday. It absolutely pissed down on the back nine, but we did have one decent nine. And I seemed to play better when it started raining harder, and I'd had more beer. So in the perfect conditions, that's not what I'm about. Yeah. Oaks, guys, it feels like the kind of golfing equivalent of Christmas Eve. We have a full Masters week ahead of us. Jacques, I'm going to start with you. Can you just rate your excitement levels? Have you put your stocking out? Have you cleared your calendar for the weekend?
Yeah, Terence, I've definitely stockpiled some data on my cell phone. I won't be at home. I'll be looking after George for a bit of it, but yeah, he's reasonably good. So I think I'll be watching quite a lot of it on my cell phone. But yeah, excitement levels at the moment are probably sitting at about a 6 or a 7. They ramp up sort of as we get closer to the time. But yeah, super keen for the Masters this weekend.
How about you, Nick? How are you feeling going into this Masters? Is this a good time of year for you?
It's the best time of year. I love it. Like now you know that major season's starting. It's like time. It's time for the big boys to play, the big boys to come out. And I think that like I'm a bit with Jacques though. Like I'm not quite there just yet. I think like by the par 3 contest, then my interest is ramped up. I've got my white overalls on. I'm pretending to be a caddy, like just having the best time, getting in the zone for the Masters. But yeah, it's like out of the majors. Okay, I think obviously the Open is incredible, but like that's also venue dependent. So I think that this is the pinnacle of major season. Like I just love the Masters. It's just so pristine, so like everything. There's not like a one blade of grass out of place. You know what I mean? And like I just froth with that sort of thing.
Hoff, how much kind of research have you done? Have you had a chance to do some hard thinking now about which of the how many live guys you normally have at least three live guys in your Golfchamps team? Have you done a bit of kind of background research? How are you feeling going into the Masters here?
Yeah, I'm super psyched. I'm like the opposite of Gary Player. I agree with Tucky. Like, I would probably say it's 2 in my book after the Open. Unlike Gary, who's got it at 4. But yeah, I'm amped, man. I mean, I'm on YouTube looking at some past stuff. Louis Oosthuizen getting that hole in one, knocking into the other ball, all that kind of stuff, you know. So yeah, I'm keen for even that range session. I think I hope Supersport are showing the range session on Tuesday night. I'll be child dependent. I'll be locked in. My child's not as well behaved as little Georgie Porge, so I don't know how much time I'm going to be locked in for, but super amped.
Sure. I remember when I had a very young child like Sebi, I spent a lot of time watching late night golf, particularly the Masters. I have some good memories of some late night feeds watching Thursday and Friday night sessions.
Yeah, I must say I'm a little bit bleak that we didn't get the timing with Easter so that we could watch that final round properly. because Monday is obviously always a bit of a problem, but yeah, I think it's stacking up to be a good one. I hope it's a little bit blustery and a little bit tough, just to make it interesting. But yeah, super amped.
Sure. I'm hoping the opposite, because the last couple of years the weather has not been good at the Masters. I don't know if you remember last year; it was very shit. I think they ended up
the thing
playing
is,
like
if it's
36 holes.
but if it's bad enough, they pull the tee times forward.
I agree, half.
If it's like if there's storms coming, they pull it forward, and then the rest of the world can actually play watch the golf.
And it's always
That's
quite
true. Like when Tiger won, we had that. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say it's always quite interesting when it does blow, because all of those trees that they plant a week before then start crashing down.
Yeah.
So let's hope it doesn't get to that this time.
Just Hoff, you mentioned Gary Player. I mean, I've some sources on the ground. There was a Gary Player sighting in Belito this weekend.
I saw that,
and we had some questions at our bachelors yesterday around whether he's going to make it back in time for his ceremonial karate kick on the first tee. Do you think? What do you think the odds of that happening are?
Well, I suppose we'll get to it later with dream scenarios and that, but I suppose maybe the dream scenario is that his son is welcomed back with opened arms to hit the tee shot in his stead, and maybe sell some golf balls at the same time.
I actually got some pretty interesting, juicy Gary Player stories this weekend. And I don't think this is the podcast to share them on, but yeah, there were some interesting little background stories that I got from guys who were playing in a pro-am with him in Germany a couple of years ago. So I want to holster those for down the line. But yeah, certainly proper Gary Player content. So look out for that. Go. So let's go into we kind of. So let's kind of lay it out, guys. We as a podcast, we're obviously growing, much faster than we were anticipating, and we're reaching beyond borders, different continents, and we decided really it was time that we had our own sponsored pool. It's time to start giving back to our fans. So we are doing a sponsored pool on Golfchamps for the Go Track podcast. It's free to enter. Really, all you have to do is give us your personal information, and then you're good to go. So no, really, all you have to do is follow us on Instagram and listen to the podcast if you can. That would be great. Yeah, and the prizes for the pool are, to be honest with you, are yet to be confirmed, but we essentially have some people on the ground at the Live Golf event this weekend in Miami, and we are hopefully putting together some Live Golf merch, which will be hopefully signed Live Golf merch. It's yet to be confirmed whether that is or isn't the case. But I'm gonna put my cock on the block and say that it will be signed Live Golf merch, which will be quite a nice prizes for the Golfchamps pool. So we wanted to do a bit of a deep dive on who you guys like, and maybe look at some of the strategies. It's obviously hell of a interesting now with the world golf rankings, with the live players and how you mix them in. But maybe before we get into that, I can just go around to the table and see what would you guys love to see this week at the Masters? What's kind of a dream scenario for you? And it can really be anything. I mean, it can be trees falling down, like Jacques said, or what's the storyline you'd love to see develop? I'm gonna start with I'll start with you, Hoff.
Okay. Sorry, I'm going in between apps here to see some of the notes that I've written down here. But I think, for me, as you know, Terence, very anti PGA Tour man myself. Not that I'm pro live, but very anti PGA Tour. So my absolute dream scenario would be a 4-man playoff of Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, and then two of Rahm, Hatton, Niemann, or Smith from Liv, and then with one of the Liv guys winning out on that. So that's my dream scenario for Sunday night.
It would be super cool. Who's your live pick there that you would love to see win?
I think because of how he's been playing this year and like all the non-live golf he's been playing and all of that, I'd probably have to go for Niemann. I'd love to see him win.
All right, Nick, what do you want to see happen out there on the green fields of Augusta?
Well, we mentioned our boy Gary Player. I want to see him banned from Augusta for ambush marketing on the first tee. Oh, that's my ultimate goal. So make sure that him and his son can't set foot at Augusta National again. But purely from a golfing perspective, I would love to see Cameron Smith win it. Big fan. Jeez, salt of the earth man.
Oh, I love that.
I'd love to see him just win the Masters and hop on his boat in the Florida Keys, wherever the hell he's living, and just go fishing for 3 days.
Yeah, I can get on board with that. I must say that's. I see he's got rid of the mullet. Did you see that? Apparently the mullet's
I haven't.
Got tired of it.
Jeez, or maybe his game will turn around a little bit.
So I don't know if that drops him down the rung for you, but unfortunately the mullet's gone. Maybe it's because he looked too much like a female, and they went big on that in Saudi Arabia. I don't know when he played at Liv Jeddah. Who knows? JDV, I'm very keen on your take.
Yeah, so actually my sort of golf take, like a bit of a serious one, was very similar to Hoff's. I'd love to see the sort of top Liv and top PGA guys rise to the top and all sort of be in the mix on Sunday. I mean, imagine if you had sort of like a Rahm, Brooks, Cam Smith, guys like Rory, Scotty, Justin Thomas, all at the top in the mix. I think the fact that those guys don't play competitive golf with each other anymore, then to have them sort of vying it for one of the prestigious majors, I think that is a dream scenario, and probably more realistic than my other scenario, which would be a Tiger Woods Phil Mickelson duel with both of the bullies coming back and making some sort of a run at it. I think that could be pretty epic.
That do you remember last year I gave you guys all those matchups, and that was one of them. It was our very first podcast we did, and it was Tiger versus Phil for the Masters. Little did we know that Phil would finish fucking second, like out of nowhere. Yeah, I love that. I think from my side, there's two parts. The one is on the golf side. I think I'd like to see. We haven't had like a close Masters in quite a while, like a close back nine. So when Rahm won last year, he kind of shut the door pretty early. Koepka kind of faded away early in the round, and then Rahm just kind of took control. And it was similar with Scotty that year, that he kind of beat Cam Smith basically. I think Cam Smith came second or third in that one. But I really want to see a close Masters coming through Amen corner and then going all the way through to 15, 16, and then just seeing the Oaks trying to like hold on 17 and 18. So I'm keen on a playoff as well. I love that, Hoff. Whatever. I just it would be nice to see. I do have a feeling it's going to be. In my mind, there's only like four or maybe five guys who are going to contend. Like I think there's quite a big disparity at the moment, and it would be awesome to see at least three of them like busting it out on the back nine. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And then on the sort of non-golf side, I hope there's like some real like controversy that's like kicked up in like a media interview or something by one of the live guys. I'm pretty sure the media are going to try bait oaks like Bryson and that to just give some. I saw this week there were already some interesting, like, outrageous comments around how the live guys think this deal needs to happen quicker, and Bryson seems a bit unhappy why, you know, the league that he blew up, the PGA Tour, why they aren't coming back together with live quicker and that. So I just hope whatever it is, I don't really care what it is. Whether Patrick Reed says something outrageous or whatever, I hope there's a little bit of spice from a media interview perspective, which kind of feeds into some of the golf as well. Because it's kind of tamed off a little bit now, the live PGA thing, and it needs a little bit of spice, you know. So that's. I think we can almost guarantee that will probably happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like Patrick Reed.
Sorry, Taki, carry on.
Yeah, Nick, what are you saying?
No, I was just saying, I feel like Patrick Reed has sort of really, really, really fallen off the side of the earth. Like a really good golfer. Like, obviously we know that. But, geez, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's all his litigation and all that sort of jazz on the side. But, like, you don't hear him and you don't see him, like, at all, even at the majors. So I wouldn't mind seeing Patrick Reed back up there this week, just to get that villain back in there, because we're missing that.
Maybe paired up with Rory McIlroy, a bit of a rules controversy. You know, did Patrick drop the ball in the right place? Rory comes over. I like that. I think that's spicy.
Yeah,
that would be really good. Is a you know, one of those real villains, and like, as you said, Hoff, one of the villains with the good boys of the PGA Tour in like a tense tussle in the back nine. I think that would be about as good as it gets for everyone. What were you going to say, JDV?
Yeah, I was just going to say the other thing would be just to see the return of Brooks and some other players getting away with slow play on the back nine. I think last year Cantlay and Sam Bennett were ridiculously slow. And to see, you know, some proper fireworks on the fairway, you know, if Brooks is stymied again by Cantlay taking, you know, 2 minutes over a putt, or Brian Harmon trying to do 1,000 practice chips before he makes an actual chip. You know, I'd love to see it actually get it into someone's head while they're going down the back nine and just like explode on like someone for slow play.
Can I just say that I think a worst case scenario, actually, now that you say that, would be that the two lead, like the back nine tussle is between Cantlay and Brian Harmon. and we have to watch their like pre-shot routine. It would be like, can you imagine? Really, like, Cantlay cost me about 25 grand last year, and I still haven't forgiven him for that. I think he shot like 76 on Sunday. It took me out of it.
You know the best thing. Yeah. You know the best thing would be, I think, is that you have those guys. So you have Cantlay and you have Brian Harmon, but they're not in the final pairing. So they're like third from last or something like that. So there's like, and let's say there are a couple guys that get so pissed off behind them, and you're just seeing, like what JDB was saying, you're just watching these guys on Sunday, but they're right in it to win it. But so they're taking even more time over their putts and everything, and then Oaks are just fuming. I'd pay good bucks to watch that.
Yeah, well, we can only hope, eh? Okay, guys. So I kind of put it out there that I wanted to get your guys' takes on a couple of different categories of picks. I think it's an interesting thing to look at the different segments of like the players. And obviously there's with Golfchamps now, in particular with the live kind of absolute tanking of all the live players, OWGR. I think that, yeah, it's kind of distorted Golfchamps a little bit, but it also makes it kind of interesting. Like, what is your strategy going to be? Are you going to take a Sergio Garcia who's like 670 in the world, and then you just load your team with, you know, like all the top dogs, or what are you going to do? So I put it out to you guys that we sort of have four different. I sent you guys the odd sheets because I think actually what's happened now is that the bookies are the best place to actually see what guys' true like rankings are coming into these things. I think they've probably got their fingers on the pulse more than anyone else. And so we kind of broke it up into 4 categories, and I asked you guys to sort of give a pick from each of those. So we're going with a dog theme here. So we've got our pure breeds, which are like the guys who like the top sort of 8 or 9 guys who better than, I think it was like 30 to 1. Then we got the sort of working dogs, like the farm dogs who, they're doing the hard yards, and they've all probably they all maybe have a chance. That was like 30 to 1 to 60 to 1. Then we have the street specials, which are kind of the more mid-range to long-range guys, and then the real sort of ceremonial dogs. So the lap dogs, the ones that have just been there, they've just been picked up from the parlor, and they're really just doing a bit of a trot at the back of the field. So I want to start with the lap dog category, and we can work our way back up. Sound good? So why don't we go around? Jacques, JDV, I'm going to throw it with you. Who's your lap dog?
Yeah, the lap dog category was tough because when we did look at the odds, there were only like 4 players in that category. So, I mean, the obvious choice would be Charles Schwartzel, being a Safa and, having that. But I thought everyone else would go with that. So the other one, obviously the Zach Johnson or a Christo Lamprecht would be a good pick. But I'm gonna, now that I've peed over all of those oaks, so I've ruined those picks for you. I'm gonna take Austin Eckhart as or Eckrot. No,
Austin Eckhart.
I don't know how to read Eckrot. There we go. Austin Eckrot. He's going to be my guy. I must say, I barely know anything about this golfer.
You sound confident in his abilities. That's for sure.
Well, look, he's there. He's one of the players.
Okay. First Masters, I think, for him. Sure. Yeah. Look, I'll just jump in. I'm not going to dwell too much on this, but I did take Charles Schwartzel as my lap dog. Yeah, he's actually I think he's made the cuts in like the last 3 Masters, and he's finished like top 30 in the last 3 Masters, interestingly enough. So there's obviously something about, good memories for Charles. I was actually just listening on my way back from the Bulls party today in my semi-hungover state, listening to the No Laying Up guys they did a recap of that Masters that Schwartzel won. Which was quite interesting to hear, like the blow by blow on each hole of how that Masters went. Because, that was the one that Rory like completely screwed out on and shot 81, I think, or 82 or was it in the 70s or something? But anyway, Nick, who do you have?
So many options, guys. Jesus, some brilliant golfers down here. Like, guys, Danny Willett is defending champ as a Masters champion. Jeez, he's always. What are those odds out there? He's sitting at
300 to 1.
So unreal. But I've gone with a guy who won the other day on the PDGA Tour, but it is his first Masters. Peter Malnati. I'm going to go with him. He's my lap dog. He's also the PGA Tour's lap dog. And that bucket hat is just ridiculous.
So you don't want a Go Track bucket hat then, Nick, because we've just had some made.
Guys, I'll tell you one thing that does not suit my head as a bucket hat. So thank you for the offer. Okay. If there's a peak going around, I'll take that.
Nice. You're a man of my own.
We've got a couple of peaks as well. We can organize a peak for you. Peter Malnati. All right. I didn't even realize he was in the field. I guess did he get in because he won?
He got in because he won the other day.
Or because he's a lap dog. Okay.
Well, he certainly didn't get in because of his personality. That's for sure.
Carl, who have you got? Probably. I'll take a guess who you've got actually. Is it Zach?
Well, what's the guess?
Zach, yeah.
No, it's
Zach
Christo.
Johnson.
It's
No,
Christo.
I don't know Zach. It's not Christo either. I went and looked at some other odds websites because I didn't understand the odds in the ones that you sent. So at at 300 to 1, quite an outsider, I took Torbjorn Olesen.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good choice.
Okay. That's actually not a bad
Torbers.
choice. Isn't he playing quite well this week? I saw him on the highlights reel this morning of the Texas Open or something like that. I think he's up
actually
there.
seems to have had quite a good season. He's gone back to the European Tour predominantly, or the DP World Tour, after his plane incident, and he seems to have gotten over peeing in the aisle of a plane and playing some good golf again.
He was one of the European players who finished in the top 10, and he's got a PGA Tour card now. So this season he's actually been playing quite a bit in the States, I think. So could be a good pick. Yeah, he's sitting tied 10th at the moment in the Texas Open. So I think that's a solid pick. Okay, let's move on to the more serious serious categories. JDV, who's your street special? Who's your minger who's going to bring it home?
Well, it depends on how much he's on camera, but I think that is the issue now, because isn't every single player's shots, like every one of their shots, you can basically follow all of their shots around. So I might have shot myself in the foot with this one. But Patrick Reed is my guy there. I do think that he seems to come alive at Augusta. But the fact that there's cameras on him every shot, I think some of the Cavalier drops, etc., might get spicy. But in all
I think his odds have taken that into account.
The word street special is a perfect description for Patrick Reed, huh?
Can I just say the other oak that was there and thereabouts was Jason Day, who just fell out of that spot. I think he was just in the next tier, but I mean, like, Jason Day is playing good golf. He also plays good golf at Augusta. So I think he was like 57 to 1 or something. So couldn't pick him, but I would have picked Jason Day, but Patrick Reed was the next best in that tier.
Okay, so you're just covering yourself there with two names, basically.
Yeah. When Jason Day wins, I just want you to know where you heard it first.
Yeah. So I'll go next. I also pick Patrick Reed as my street special. He's got that dog in him. He seems like, it doesn't really matter how he's playing the rest of the year, but when he arrives at Augusta, obviously there's like positive vibes. And I actually went and looked this up. Do you know that the last 4 Masters, he has top 10, 3 of them? 3 out of the last 4 Masters, he's got a top 10. And that's obviously that doesn't include the one that he won. It's obviously something about when he sets foot on at Augusta that it likes him. So we can get to our Golfchamps strategy later on, but he's sitting at his world golf ranking now is 107. So if you were looking for someone who you thought was a dead cert to maybe finish in like the top 20 or 30, and who can cover your world golf ranking, there's a potential strategy there. Who do you like in that category, Nick?
It's tough. There's a number of options. Like, there's some guys here that you just solid players. Like, but they're probably not good. They're probably not going to win it. Let's be honest. I was excuse me. I was going to go with Al Safa, Eric van Rooyen, but I think I'm changing my mind, and I'm going to go with Tyrrell Hatton. I know, obviously, he hasn't been on live for too long. So, but that's another one of those guys that I feel has just fallen off the side of the earth. I haven't actually watched much of his golf since he's left, so I don't actually know what sort of form he's in going into this week. But as you mentioned, Patrick Reed's got that dog. I think he's also got a bit of dog in him.
What would Tyrrell Hatton's odds be at the moment? Do you know?
80 to 1.
Yo, that's not a bad bet.
Really?
Does he fit into that category?
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
For sure, yeah,
He was my
absolutely.
bet as well. So I took Tyrrell Hatton. I agree with you, Tucky. I think he's perfect in that category. Bit of dog, spicy to watch.
Wow.
Gets a bit pissed off. Throws some clubs. And I've got Liv Miami on in the background. He's sitting 2 shots back in 4th, so doesn't seem to be playing too badly.
Sure. I tell you what, like a little top 10 bet might be worth having a look at for him, huh? In terms of Golfchamps strategy, he's still suffering from he hasn't fallen down the rankings yet as much because he's pretty new on Live. So I see he's ranked 17. But yeah, I like that pick at 80-1. Sure. I don't know what his previous history is at the Masters, because the one thing for me at Augusta, there's absolutely no doubt that players either really vibe there or they really don't vibe. Like you look at like Bryson, who's kind of historically battled there, and then some players who just seem to it's turned something on inside of them. I'm not sure. I'll just have to have a look at Tyrrell's past finishes. So
Yeah, I've got it here.
The last 3 Masters, he was okay.
Yeah, his tie 18 is his best finish. So that's tough. He's made 5 cuts out of his 7 tournaments that he's played at the Masters. So he's not a bad shot, I don't think.
I agree.
Sure, he's got a couple of big numbers in here. Hey, in 2022, he shot 79-80, round 3, round 4. It's tough. Wasn't he one of the guys who said that he doesn't really like Augusta, and it's like a bit of a? He was like mouthing off about it, wasn't he? Or was that Fitzpatrick? I can't remember. One of those English guys are like, they sort of think it's a bit overrated. And
I could
Hatton. I don't know.
100% hear that coming out of Tyrrell Hatton's mouth. Just like a petulant child, the soak. Like if things don't go his way, he just starts throwing his toys, which I love.
Well, as you guys are talking, there's literally like a highlights package on Live with him just chucking his clubs as you guys are talking about him.
But I think it gets his juices going. I think he almost does it purposely. It's a bit like it's the thing that like he likes to sort of berate himself, sort of like whips himself, and it somehow it doesn't. Yeah, it seems to be something that motivates him. All right, it's cool. It's interesting that we had a pretty narrow picks there. Those are actually definitely both dogs. So yeah, it'd be nice to have one of them against like a Justin Thomas or a Rory coming down the back 9. Cool, Oaks. Next category is like our farm dog. This is now where we're really looking for a bit of return on investments. Quite a big category as well. There's a lot of guys in here. I'd be interested to hear if we've got any overlaps here. Who do you have in this category?
Yeah, as you say, there was a lot to pick from, and sort of ummed and ahed and went forwards and backwards. But I really like this oak as a golfer, and I think he's done decently at Augusta before. So at 33-1, I went with Victor Hovland.
Okay. It's interesting. He's had a little bit of a quiet start to this year. I mean, he was lights out last year, wasn't he, at the Ryder Cup and winning the FedEx Cup. I haven't really looked at his Masters history, but yeah, sort of oak. You wouldn't be surprised to see him with a green jacket on, huh?
And also just a lacquer oak. Seems like a nice guy. Hell of a golfer. He's got some problems in his game, which is quite cool to see sometimes. But yeah, I really like him. I think he's a cool guy, and I'd love him to win. Actually, he's probably the only PGA Tour player that I'd actually like to see win. Well, maybe one or two.
Well, if I can just help you out there. Sorry, guys. That Victor Hovland's got pretty good Masters return. He's made all cuts that he's played in. And he's
like to hear
T7
that.
best finish. So that was last year. So maybe trending at Augusta in the right direction. But I'm also with you. Massive, massive fan of Victor Hovland, especially when he's calling Rory McIlroy out for penalties. Love it.
Yeah, he doesn't let guys get away with bad drops. Eh?
No.
Yeah, you don't let that smile bloody fool you. That oak's he's a fighter and he knows how to win. I mean, he's won some pretty big things in his career, US amateur and all those kinds of things. So surely got to win a major at some point. And yeah, what better place than Augusta? So holding thumbs.
All right, I like that. JDV, who's your? We should probably clarify that this was kind of a category which the odds were roughly from 30 to 1 to 60 to 1. So, I mean, essentially, it was not the sort of top 10-ish or maybe the top 8-ish guys. I can't remember how many guys were in that first category, but this is really the second category, and there's a huge number of players in this pool. I mean, outside of the real top dogs, this is where most of the probable contenders are going to be. So yeah, who did you land on there, JDV?
Shit, the more you talk, Terence, the more my pick seems like absolutely stupid.
I'm looking forward to
So
this.
excited.
This is like, I'm either going to come out of this podcast.
Old rosy cheeks. Please say it's old rosy cheeks.
I'm either going to come out of this podcast looking like an oracle or like an absolute asshole. So my
Ben Curtis.
So my pick was Sahith Tagala for that band.
Honestly,
What
I
were
don't
his
think it's a
odds?
bad pick, bro.
He
his odds?
seems like his drivers got better. That oak is like all passion, and I don't know. He's epic to watch. He's like
For
if
chess.
you watch that full swing, he came out great in the full swing episodes. I don't know. I really like Sahith Tagala, and he's playing some good golf. But yeah, it could. I also wouldn't be surprised
That's a
if he
Johan pick,
missed the
Jock.
cut.
That's a Johan pick. Definitely a Johan pick.
Do you know? So he's played his first Masters was last year. He finished 9th
Oh, there we go. So not bad. But
in
look,
his first Masters. That's pretty
my
good.
My boring pick that I had there was Cantlay, but I would much rather put Sahith Tagala there and pull for Sahith than Cantlay.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'd take Thigala over Cantler on principle.
I really think it's a decent pick. I'm not sure what his where he is because he's a PGA guy. I think he's like for Golfchamps vibe. I think he's slightly high up on the world rankings. He's 15th. So this is where the rankings are completely out of sync with the actual like odds, right? I think I looked. There's 2 guys in the top 10 that have never played at Augusta in the top 10 of the world. Wyndham Clark has never played the Masters, and Ludwig Aubert has never played either. So, yeah, there's a bit of distortion there. Nick, who's your farm dog?
I was quite like this one. I came to a decision quite quickly. I think a guy that I think is playing far better golf this year than he has in a while. He burst onto the scene, really fought hard at majors, did really nicely. So I'm going with Cameron Young. He's my farm dog. Played at the Masters twice. He's made 1 cut, but he finished T7 last year, which I thought was pretty good. And also he's been doing nicely, and he looks like a killer. Like literally looks like he could be a killer, like a hiker. So I think he looks pretty badass.
He literally looks like a farm dog, like in the nicest possible way. Like if Reed looks like a street special, like he looks, Cameron Young looks like he could round up a couple of sheep and go and sit by the fire looking very content. So I think it's a good pick. There are some question marks over whether he's got like
Finish.
You know, whether he
Finishing.
can close. Yeah, I still don't think he's won on the PGA Tour, which is kind of outrageous given his kind of talent.
But he's been up there. He was up there in the Open that Cam Smith won. He was right up there. I think he finished in the top 3
second.
or 4.
Yeah.
Second. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a bit of dog in him for majors. I think he does. I think he stands up in majors. So yeah, I think that's a good one.
Yeah. So in
You got T?
2022, he
Yeah,
yeah. Just to finish off with Cam here, in 2022, T3 at the PGA Championship, and then runner-up at the Open. So it's there. He's got it.
Yeah. And it's probably one of those guys that a bit like Scotty, once he breaks through, he's going to probably rack up a couple of wins pretty quickly. All right, yeah. Well, I knew we weren't going to have the same players in this category because there's so many big names. Are you getting another bottle of wine?
That's why you saw me get out. It was one of those like what's it, Wedding Crashers, where he's like, "Mom, the meatloaf, fuck!" It was shouting out the door, "More wine."
Meatloaf. That's great. So I've gone. This is. I'm sure Carl might find this pick interesting, but my farm dog, I think, is also a very appropriate looking fella for this category. Is a gentleman by the name of Shane Lowry.
Terence, I'm taking
he's slightly higher up.
Side bet that Scythe Tagala beats Shane Lowry.
Yo.
I'll take that with you. Let's do that. That's on. No problem. Yeah, he's slightly higher up on. He was. Well, he's in the same range as like Cam Young and Max Homer, Tommy Fleetwood, Sam Burns. He's in that sort of, what is it, 47-1, 48-1. He's playing reasonable enough golf this year. Like, hasn't been lights out, but hasn't been horrific. The last 3 Masters, he's had pretty much top 20 the last 3 Masters in a row. I think he was T16 last year, and the year before that he finished tied for 3rd. He's got for Augusta, I always think of guys who've got like a bit of a short game, like imagination and that. And Lowry's got like hands, you know. He has a good like chipping short game and that. So and by the results, you can see that it hasn't overwhelmed him. So Shane Lowry is my farm dog, and he will beat Sahith. And I'll bet you a bottle of wine on that.
Yeah, I'll take that bet.
I'm gonna back Jacques on that one. I'm gonna go Sahith over Lowry. In fact, I'll even bet that Lowry doesn't make the cut.
Yo, okay.
How much do you want to bet?
Why not?
Another bottle of wine.
50, 100? Are we
Okay,
keeping it
so
to
you've
liquor?
got a bottle of
wine.
wine on Lowry not making the cut, and I've got a bottle of wine with Jacques on him beating Sahith. So
Okay. Done.
that's fine. My wine collection's looking a bit empty, so I need to fill it up a bit. So I don't see any issues here. We've covered all of. Has everyone picked their farm dog now? Are we done? We done with those musts? All right. So let's go to the top dogs now. I'm gonna give Nick the floor here to roll out his prize puppy.
Okay. I've got it. Guys, I can't look any further than the world number 1, Scotty Scheffler. Obviously, we know that his putting is diabolical, but no one in the world comes close to him when it comes to ball striking. He's an unbelievable talent. He just has to putt at like 50%. He doesn't even have to be that good. He just has to be a little bit better than he is, and he'll win this tournament so easily. So hopefully there's been a bit of work done in the last sort of 2 weeks. So he's not playing this week. So going into the Masters, hopefully there's been something done, whether he's gone he's still using the putter that he was using, or he's gone back to the old one, or whatever the hell he's done. But geez, he needs to putt at 50%, and he'll absolutely walk this tournament.
Tough to argue with that.
Very tough.
Anyone else got Scotty? Maybe this makes it easier. Oh, that's fantastic. That's great. Okay, Carl. Well, I've got John Rahm as my puppy, my pure breed puppy. Have any of you guys got Rahm? Carl, JDV?
Look, I've got Scotty.
No.
It was a 2-horse race between Scotty and Rahm, but I don't want to have the same purebred as you guys. So you can cross them off the list for me. I'll pick someone else.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, look, I think it's very tough between Rahm and Scotty. I've still got question marks on, as you said, on Scotty's putting. I think it seemed like at one stage it was like, oh, he solved it, but yeah, I'm not so sure that he has. And as we know, the Augusta greens are you really have to be on your A game with your putting. I think Rahm is going to have a lot to prove. Not a lot to prove. He's going to have a fire in him this week. It's like the first time basically that he's come back playing with the PGA guys. And I think he's really going to want to prove a point that he's still legit. He obviously won last year in completely closed out Brooks in that match last year. And yeah, I think he's going to go back to back. So yeah, he's my pure breed pick. Huff, who have you got?
So I've gone completely outrageous. I wanted
Rory.
No, definitely not Rory. No, I wouldn't put any money on Rory ever. But I wanted to really look outside of the sort of square and keep my attention on if he does make the cut or whatever. I mean, he's such an outrageous talent. So I went closer to the 30-1 mark than the top end of the odds. So I went with 28-1. You mentioned him earlier. First Masters, Ludwig Aubert. I think he's an outrageous talent. And yeah, I don't know. I've just got a feeling that it might be a Masters for a first timer. And what better way to win a major than that? So yeah, I've gone with Ludwig.
Wow, that's very interesting, Hoff. I can't see him on this odds sheet that's in front of me, but yeah, maybe I'm just missing his name.
He was 28-1 on the one that I checked.
It's kind of outrageous if you think he's never played this is his first major.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And he's got the same odds as Cameron Smith. Yeah, no, cool.
I mean,
I like the boldness of that.
You look at how he stood up in the Ryder Cup. I mean, he basically came straight out of varsity and went straight into a Ryder Cup and absolutely tore one. I mean, they broke a record, I think, in that first foursome or four ball, or whichever one it was. So yeah, I mean, it's out there. I think I probably think that Scheffler will win. I agree, but yeah, I wanted to put a mark down and maybe put a few bucks down at 28-1, and who knows, see what happens. Bit of a Scandinavian flavor.
I like it. Oh, it would be an awesome story, first timer. I don't think it's happened for 40 years or something, huh? All right, come on, JDV.
Yeah. So look,
what's going to happen?
My head's telling me it's a 2-horse race at the top, Rahm or Scheffler. I think that's the smart money. But I think I've shown through these things that I'm not exactly smart when it comes to these things. So I would also say that because no one's taken Mr. Rory McIlroy, that would be the obvious choice. But I'm also going left of center here just for entertainment value, because if he's in the mix, he is going to be so much fun to root for, or so much fun to root against, Mr. Bryson DeChambeau.
Oof.
That's tough. That is
Do you
tough.
want to have some bets on Rahm versus? Do you want to have a bet on Rahm versus Bryson?
And I will be taking no bets on anyone versus Bryson.
Yeah, Bryson's had a couple of tough years at the Augusta. Hey? Well, after he called it what did he call it? A par 66 or something for him, a par
That
67.
didn't age well.
He then went on to miss the cut like 2 years in a row. No, I love it. It's such a vibe. It's just great to have. That's why like we didn't actually say it earlier. Like I know we said we're all excited for the Masters and because it's the first big major, but really the thing that I'm most excited about is just literally having all of these oaks back. Like it's the majors have now become the only thing that really matters. It's the only time we have all of these guys together. So like absolutely give me Bryson on on the back nine on Sunday, throw him in the mix with a few other guys. I'm there. I'm all in on that. I love it.
Can I give another side bet if anyone wants to take it? Spieth versus Tigala. Spieth is playing some very... Spieth could make like an 18 on one of the holes, but could also be like, 5 under through 9.
I'm not taking that bet.
I'm shocked at Spieth's odds. I mean, he's sitting at like 20-1.
Yeah, that's great.
He's the 6th favorite. Like, I know he's got history, but like, how far back are we going here? Like, nothing in the golf that the Oaks played in the last 3 or 4 years would justify that. So it's kind of shocking seeing him so far down, so high up.
Yeah.
Guys, just in general now with Golfchamps, what are your guys like? What are your guys' strategies? What do you do? How do you go about putting together a team now with the live, like, these inflated world rankings? Are you guys going to pick a live, or a guy who's like got a very high ranking and then just load your team with the favorites? Are you guys picky about having like a unique ranking? Not ranking, a unique lineup. What is? How do you? I'm assuming you play Golfchamps, Nick.
Yeah, no, definitely. My strategy is often to do the pick one absolute dog and try and get as many of the guys at the top as you possibly can. So like, definitely going to have Scotty in my team. I'm probably going to go with someone like. Then you go a little bit further down, and you're looking at probably someone like Justin Thomas or Patrick Cantlay, probably because the chances of him making the cut are high. And then another one that's sort of just in that next bracket are sort of what are street specials, and then you're looking right at the bottom of the field just for something. You just want to get you want a miracle out of Gary Woodland or Austin Eckroyd or Lucas Glover. Well, I guess Lucas Glover's major champion, so I think they're correct.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So it's maybe not a bad shot to get someone like him in your team, and then you just try and just load it up with those top guys.
But do you think it? I mean, that was very similar to what I used to do. I went through a stage where when the world golf rankings were accurate, I went through a stage where I would just pick 4 like medium range guys, which was actually paid off a couple of times. But I never really I made the cut, but I never really, because you don't have the top guys, particularly at the Masters where there's only a handful of guys that are going to win. If you don't have at least 1 or 2 of those really top dogs, then you're not in it. But with the live kind of inflated rankings now, I mean, you can get Joaquin Neiman is 91 in the world golf rankings. Would you not consider, pulling in like him or a Cam Smith, because suddenly you don't have to worry about getting a Lucas Glover or a Christo Lamprecht as or a Sam Bennett or something. It's changed it a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's like they're going to have to develop some sort of system now, I guess, with this. Maybe they've got to use the other golf website where they've actually ranked all the players. Use that as your basis because, yeah, like as you say, it's sort of it's so out of keel now, and it's making it what I guess almost easier to pick a better team. So they're probably going to have to work something out for the next majors. I don't know.
Yeah, it's almost a bit mindless now, because like you say, Terence, like when the world rankings were accurate in that, the whole thing was like trying to pick 4 guys that all made the cut. Because if you picked 4 guys that all made the cut, you were in, and then it was hoping that one of those guys did really, really well. Because if one guy misses the cut, you're pretty stuffed. And it was so tough to do that with the system that they had. And that whole system is pretty screwed now. I think the odds are a good way of looking at it. As Taki says, I think it's Data Golf or whatever that does those other rankings. I think that would be, or Sports Illustrated or whoever's done that other ranking. I think that would be more fair. I think they've got a ranking.
They do.
But
yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it's a bit silly now. You can pretty much pick whoever you like. I mean, I don't know where Sergio Garcia is, but I mean, you could pick him. He's in pretty good form. He's leading Live, and then pick whoever you like after that. I'm gonna take a slightly. I have done that the last few times, but I'm gonna take a slightly different tact, and I'm actually gonna see if the picks that I made here based on odds I can punch in realistically into Golfchamps, and if I can't, I'll tweak it slightly. But yeah, I'm gonna try and actually pick some like sort of a nod to the heyday of Golfchamps and pick that way, and see if I can get some results.
I think what's happened is what will happen, and that's why I asked about if you want it, because it tells you if you don't have a unique team, is that you're going to have a huge number of people who are gonna pick, like, let's say Neiman. I think Neiman's going to be probably one of the most popular picks because he's 91. You're going to have a whole lot of people who are going to have, let's say, Neiman with Scotty, Rahm, and Rory as an example. You might have 20 or 30 people who pick that. And if you're playing in a pool where, there's prize money or there's like live paraphernalia on the line,
big stuff.
You're going to be having to split a PCAT with someone, So, yeah, in some ways they probably do need to rethink the way they do that. I'm the same as you, Carl. I'm more inclined to pick a little bit of I quite like having a unique side. So I'm going to be probably looking for more sort of middle of the road guys.
What's happening here?
Sorry, my volume just like.
That was my audio. Sorry, guys.
Boo.
I think we've got you on an echo.
Is there an echo in here?
Oh, there we go. I just had to mute your microphone, Nick. Sorry for a while. But yeah, more sort of middle of the road guys, and then and then do it that way. I'm going to stay away from the Scotties and the Rahms and that, and see if I can build a winning team with some of the farm dogs.
Yeah, farm dogs. Farm dogs are going to take over the Golfchamps. I agree with you, Terence. Everyone's going to be picking those top 3. You've got to go out there if you want to be solo entry and winning it. And the Oaks that do win it generally have some pretty out there picks. My Golfchamps record is I got a mention in the email the one time for coming stone last in my pick. I'm trying to think who it was, but
it's probably Segala.
Yeah, no, I woke up the one morning and I was sitting here trying to research it, but I'd picked one of the Nordic golfers, and everyone was like, "Yo, Jacques, that's a pretty out there pick," and I was like, "Yeah, he's been playing pretty good golf," and the rest of it, and then woke up and I saw about 5 different videos had been posted to me of this oak throwing his club into the ocean after hitting like his 20th shot in the water.
It's probably
And I
like
was
Peter
"Right."
Hansen or something.
I thought it was Alex Noren or someone in like I thought, but again, I'm just trying to find the email. But if I find it, I'll send it through to you guys. But I did get a mention for coming stone last the 1 year.
Yeah. Look, it's much funner. It's much funner going that route. Oaks, is there any? So yeah, look. I'm looking at a guy like sure, who did we have here? Yeah, like the Shane Lowrys. I'm looking at Sanjay M. You know, Sanjay M is at 40. I think his world ranking is like 40. Guys like that who might, you're gonna build up a score with them, sneak into like a kind of a top 20 maybe. If you can pile a couple of those guys together. Corey Connors is always a favorite for me at the Masters.
Yeah, 100%.
He seems to outperform his, I don't know, ability there. He's got like multiple top 20s, and I think he's the 50th player in the world. So, yeah, guys like that. That's probably the way I'm going to go about it. I think there'll be a hell of a lot of people who'll just front load their team, and pick like a Sergio or I don't know. Probably I think Cam Smith, Neiman, and probably, I don't know about Patrick Reed. Maybe Sergio. Maybe guys will pick up on Sergio after this live performance this weekend, Carl.
Yeah.
And take it home that way.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite a lacquer leaderboard looking at live, actually. I mean, Tyrrell Hatton's 10 under, Dean Burmester's 10 under, Sergio Garcia's 10 under, and Louis Oosthuizen's 9 under. So, I mean, that's pretty stacked from an interesting point of view and a Safa point of view. So that's pretty lacquer.
So Terence, the other strategy which you could use, which Mr. Johan Els used the one time, is you sort of go with quite a broad pick. So he was convinced that
demographic
and someone from Asia would win the Masters, I think it was, or the British Open. So we looked at his picks and it was like Colin Morikawa and Kevin Na and those guys, and we like, but Johan, those are all American.
Yeah, I remember he had every M and Yim and Yin and that in his team. So, no, anyway, well, I'm looking forward to. I must say I'm super excited for this weekend. And yeah, in fact, I'm with you, Carl. I think I'm going to be tapping in almost every night to the build up. I don't know what you guys do in terms of a sleep strategy on Saturday and Sunday. You have to try get an afternoon nap in there somewhere if you're going to try and stay up. Because I don't know about you guys, but my kids don't really care that I've been up till like 3 a.m. watching golf. They're still up at like 5:30. So
I found that
I hope everyone works on their sleep strategies.
I'm still awake at that time, tending to my kid. So I think he's aiding my master's strategy rather than deflecting it. That's for sure.
The problem is as well that master's music for me is like when a hypnotist clicks his fingers and you fall asleep. Like I hear that do 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 do, and that's like me sleeping immediately. So yeah, it's gonna be. I might just have to watch whenever the thing comes back on or they show the leaderboard. I might just have to turn the sound off because that always kills me.
Yeah,
I love that sound.
That app is absolute gold. Like, geez, I live on that app for 4 days. I love it. Like, it's the best app in golf, and also I think that the Masters social media is the best social media in sport. Like, it's second to none. So that's also why I get pretty excited for this week.
Yeah, I think everyone's like, did I delete that thing after last year? Like, shit, I deleted it. Let me go and find it and re-download it.
100%. Tomorrow morning or Tuesday, between now and like Wednesday, the most downloaded app in the world, like Masters app, like for sure. I delete them every year. I definitely don't keep them on my phone. Sure, Oaks. Well, we've had a hell of a long chinwag here, and hopefully there've definitely been some nuggets given out. So I hope, I'm sure people will use this as part of their in-depth research into compiling their Golfchamps lineups. But we'll definitely send out something on our pool that we're going to set up tomorrow, I guess, when Golfchamps opens their doors to the general public. And are there any other like final thoughts? I did have a message from our
mole.
eyes on the ground at Live Miami this morning.
Looks a bit like a mole as well.
Our mole. Yeah, I had a message from him, and he told me that he can't keep up with the caddies. He says since he's been there, the caddies have been pissing it up till 3:00 every single morning, and he had to take the night off last night. So, he said those live caddies are wild. The caddy lifestyle is, it's not for everyone.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, he also told me he was walking like 28 kilometers a day, which I don't know.
Seems a stretch.
Seemed like he may have inflated that number.
That seems high. That seems very high.
I think maybe there's a decimal point in between those two numbers.
Yeah. 2.8 kilometers every day.
Any closing thoughts on the Masters, guys?
I was just going to say.
Before we wrap this thing up,
I had to mention Hideki because if he wins it, I had to just say his name, Hideki Matsuyama. All right, that's my closing thoughts.
Yeah, I was just going to say. I was just going to say a little bit. Like we've spoken a lot, obviously, and not much Safa input, to be honest. What have we got? Erik van Rooyen and Christo Lamprecht. I think that's our chances. So, And Charles. So then just Erik van Rooyen and Christo Lamprecht it is. But yeah,
is Bears not playing?
No, he's not playing. But
Bears?
No.
That's a pity.
But I was going to say, hopefully from a Safa perspective, I think a big win will be if Lamprecht can make the cut and maybe, what's the they do give a prize to the amateur, so maybe you can take that out. That would be it would put South African golf on the map again, hopefully. So yeah, that's my closing remark, is for Christo to win the amateur mug.
Well,
I want to see. You know what I want to see?
Amateurs.
I just want to see. I want to see the guy. I want to see the winner of the par 3 contest win the Masters. Come on.
Yeah,
surely
that would be great.
Surely it's about time. Come on, someone's going to do it.
That's a really good call, because then they can stop giving us that little stat that they do every year, going, he never wins, he never goes on and wins. Oh, God.
That would be epic, though.
Yeah, par 3 contests. I'm looking for some good content out there. A couple of holes in ones, like maybe some Gary Player karate kicks, stealing chip buckets off people from the crowd and stuff like that. I'm sure you'll be thrilled if something like that happens.
Tony Finau breaking an ankle, something like that.
Well, listen, if Gary isn't there and he's been removed as a ceremonial hitter, then you heard it first here on the Go Track that that he was seen in our neighborhood, and that we brought this news to you first. So
he's probably been cryogenically.
Maybe that should be our speculative call.
He's probably been cryogenically frozen. He's currently like on his way there via like SpaceX or something like that. Because he doesn't have any horrible food in his system, so he won't be jet lagged.
He can like separate all of his body parts, can't he? And he can FedEx them to Augusta and then put himself back together. I thought that's how he operated.
Shit, he is a hoot, absolute hoot.
Boys, Nick, thanks so much for joining us. We'll have to do this again sometime. I really appreciate your insights and your views. And it was nice to chat. Hopefully we can play some golf together sometime.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Terence, thank you very much. JDV, Carl, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. We should definitely make this into a formal at some stage.
For sure.
100%.
That'd be lekker.
You can watch Carl. You can watch Carl
JDV
on
Carl.
the 13th.
Nice to chat.
What's that?
I say Nick can watch Carl shit the bed on the 13th at Cotswold.
Yeah, we'll see. It's also going to be the first eagle. You'll see. You heard it first, chat. I'll do it wearing a flippin' GoPro on my head or something like that. One of those self-facing ones.
Carl, I do have to tell you that one of the guys that I played with yesterday at the Bulls party, he's got an albatross on that hole. So just some aspirational stories for you, just to give you some positive mojo.
No, I spoke to JDV about it. I'm quite happy to give it a couple of cracks on camera, and I'm not gonna wuss out of it. It's gonna be all driver first, no hybrids or irons or anything like that, because the goal has got to be the eagle, and if I end up hitting 4 out, well then it's no different to any other Saturday. So the goal's got to be the eagle.
Sounds good. Lekker guys, we'll chat soon. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, guys.